The establishment, the political establishment, and the media establishment. Hey, Bernie's a nice guy, but he's crazy. Nice guy, but, you know, his ideas are so far removed from reality. Ain't nobody going to support that. And we came to New Hampshire after tying in Iowa. We came to New Hampshire and we won the state by a good margin. And the importance of that is not just for me. I don't mean, you know, help me politically, it did. But more importantly, what the people of New Hampshire said, these are not radical ideas. These are ideas that make sense to working families throughout the country. So that's issue number one, where I think there is a change. Ideas that 4 years ago seemed radical are now part of the mainstream. And many of my opponents are kind of, in one way or another, echoing what I said 4 years ago. Issue number two, I'll tell you what is very different. 4 years ago, I talked about climate change. People said, yeah, well, he's right. It's a serious problem. Right now, what I see all over this country, when I talk about climate change, people say, yeah, we got a real crisis here. We've got to do something, you know, really got to respond. And I'm so proud of the young people in this country. We're proud of the fact that we have the endorsement of the Sunrise Movement of young people in this country and people all over the world, young people who are saying, you know what? Hey, adults. Hey, big leaders of the world. We want to live in a planet that is healthy and habitable, and we want that for our children as well.
Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. The Hillsdale Dialogue is underway. All things Hillsdale are available at hillsdale.edu. Dr. Larry Arnn is my guest. He is the president of Hillsdale. He talks to young people all over the country. Bernie Sanders says they're going his way. Bernie Sanders represents, I voted for Bernie by absentee in Virginia because I want a choice, not an echo on the ballot in November. Are those ideas less radical, Dr. Arnn? You know British history. You know when the socialists broke upon the scene and shattered the party system in Great Britain. What do you make of Bernie thinking that the young people in America, whom you see every day at the campus of Hillsdale College, have gone hard left?
Well, the Socialist Party entered British politics the same year Winston Churchill did. They said they got their first seats, just a few, in the House of Commons in the year 1900, and they got their first majority to operate with in 1945. So they burst on the scene over the course of 45 years. And you have to remember that Churchill would say this sometimes, the election of a socialist government is the kind of trauma that would only follow something cataclysmic like a defeat in war. And that's when it happened. You know, the worst war in history, compromised the power of Great Britain, and then they elected a socialist government, and then they threw them out 6 years later. So, yeah, these ideas have been around for a long time, right? They're offshoots of a German historicism, which dates from the early 19th century. So, sure, you know, for a long time. And are they? The question is, are they good ideas? And if they're not good ideas, then their adoption will lead to disaster. And the point about the young are, you know, they need to be learning, and they are surely growing up, whether they're growing up well or not. And they change very fast because every big thing they do is new to them for years. So I wouldn't, if I were Bernie, I wouldn't depend that the youth have adopted this argument because, you know, I mean, it's against the law, virtually, to even have a sense of humor about global warming. But, you know, a lot of people do. And so it's this. Remember what his claim is. It's amazing. It's one of the sharpest divides in American history. It's not quite like the Civil War, but it's getting there. Donald Trump is going to restore, right? Make it great again, right? And what they're going to do is these new problems change everything, and we have to sweep everything out of the way to deal with them. And in one form or another, all of the candidates on the Democratic ticket, including Joe Biden, are saying that. And so it's just a very stark contrast. And
but do you believe, you work with college students every day, if people are taking their children up to see Hillsdale College and make a campus visit, you're more than likely to run into Dr. Arnn, so you have to add an hour to your schedule. And so when you talk to these youngsters, and they are young, they're 18 and younger, are they what Bernie says?
Well, my ones are crazy, of course, but because you come to Hillsdale College, first of all, it's like joining the Marine Corps. And, everybody knows it's hard. Everybody knows we got to study all this stuff. Everybody knows we're going to be treated like we're ignorant and also listened to and compelled to think and talk about things that we're not ready to do, right? It's very old-fashioned in that way, so it's slightly artificial. But it's also true that they are aware of all these trends and all these trends in all of the big controversial subjects, climate change, sex, all that. And they have opinions about them, and they argue about them, and some of them are on Bernie's side about climate change. But they argue and they think, right? And also they don't think that they know everything.
Boy, what an advantage. What an advantage to be aware of what you do not know. Dr. Larry Arnn is here every week to remind me of what I don't know, and hopefully you as well. All of the Hillsdale dialogues are available at hugh4hillsdale.com. Go to hillsdale.edu and get your application. Send your child there if you want them to be educated in an age of complete illogic. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Generalissimo.